Hello, Abigail here, and today I want to talk about the full moon in Leo. This full moon happens on the 12th of February at 8, check my notes, 53 a.m. EST. It is at 24 degrees of Leo. Of course, when we have a full moon, what we get is we get the sun in the sign of the season, so Aquarius sun, and then the moon is in opposition, and the opposition to Aquarius is Leo. So we get this oppositional kind of back and forth between those planets, especially in this Aquarius season. It's, I think, a much needed perspective. Oppositions are this externalized story of the things that are happening to us and the things that we need to release in order to move forward. It's also kind of the midway point of a journey. So it's really important to check in this moment and to really ask yourself, how you feel, especially with the moon in Leo. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your place in the world? How do you feel about, your uniqueness, your talent, your gifts, your beauty? And if you don't feel great, why? And if you feel great, amazing. Um, this is also, a moment where we have a square with Uranus over in Taurus. And so we have this T square between, Uranus and Taurus because I want to say Uranus is at 23 degrees of Taurus. Yeah. Um, and so our outlet is, in Scorpio, in the kind of messages of the underworld, in those deep, you know, internalized feelings that we have about ourselves and the people around us. Um, so this is a moment to investigate and to really observe where you are and what you're doing. That square, also, I talked about this in the week ahead video, is really about investigating, the places we've been stalled in and, where we feel like I've done so much work. Why do I have to keep constantly progressing? I do also think that this full moon with that square to Uranus is bringing up a lot of past life stuff for people. So if that is something that is pertinent to you, keep an eye out. Um, you know, with this kind of fixed energy, like, what am I doing here? How have I gotten this far? Why am I still here? you know, it's this feeling of stuckness with this square, and needing to allow ourselves to go inward to untangle that stuckness. Now, with Mars retrograde, do I think we're going to be out of it soon? Instantly, no. Also, it's important to note that the ruler of this moon is in opposition to the sun, and it is in detriment, and detriment suns, it is this kind of war between visibility and not visibility and being heard and not wanting to be understood. Leos really love to be understood. Aquarians oftentimes make it their, not their mission, but really enjoy being complex and being misunderstood, not in like a mean way, but like having ideas that are expansive. Also, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So we are in the square with the modern ruler. Saturn, the traditional ruler, is in Pisces. So there's this push and pull. I do think something that's kind of beautiful is while there is that push and pull, Uranus and Saturn, while not in a close, by degree sextile, they are still sextile by sign. And so there is actually a flow between the rulers, giving us messages and understanding. And we also have the North Node in Pisces. So there is a way forward, but it is a way that we are never going to be able to imagine in this moment. We have to trust that there is a world beyond our wildest dreams that is capable. There is a life for us beyond our wildest dreams that is possible. And in moments where our hands feel like they're tied in a Mars retrograde and with Venus in the shadow period before its own retrograde and that starts in Aries, it's important to know that intention does matter. That desire does matter. That believing that something can be true does matter. And Uranus is like, well, you're going to have to find wilder dreams and more unbelievable and unrealistic solutions for things. And those things are going to work, but it's about this radical trust. Also, we have Mercury conjunct the sun I think it's at 26 degrees, so not that far away. We're in like a 2-degree conjunction. They've just come out of that Kazemi. Um, and so it's this really beautiful moment also in this square of just recognizing who you are and what you need and just admitting to the visibility you desire. Every sign, like obviously like Leo loves visibility. It's like being a sunflower in a field. They need the sun. Um it's not always being the center of attention, but it's being seen for their unique qualities and their gifts. But all signs desire visibility in some way, the desire to be seen and understood. Maybe it's to be seen and understood like Scorpio in a deeply intimate and primal way. Or maybe it's to be seen and understood like Libra for the fact that they are doing their best and really trying to balance and to help people. I always find it's a kind of a similar vibe to Virgo, kind of different method. So in this moment, how can you give yourself visibility? How can you see yourself in this moment for who you truly are? And not with the stories that other people have told you, not with the stories and the myths that other people have put on you, like, oh, they're always lazy, or oh, they're always really dramatic, or oh, they're always too much. Too much for who? Too much for you? Okay, that's fine. I am probably too much for you, but there is someone out there. There are groups, there are friends, there are lovers, there are people out there who I am not too much for, who I am a beautiful cosmic treat, um, a delicious snack, someone who inspires and makes them, by my own authentic existence, makes their authentic existence possible. You know, it's a moment to look at our qualities and the ones that we consider bad and to see them in their rawness and in their realness. And even if you can't like those traits right now, you can definitely listen to yourself and your body and be like, maybe I don't like this trait, but this trait has value. Maybe I don't appreciate this in the moment, but it has a purpose. My birth chart is the way it is for a reason, even with the difficulties and the frustrations and struggles that might come with your particular birth chart. It's time for honesty, authenticity. It's a time to be frustrated. The sun is square Uranus, Mercury is square Uranus, the moon is square Uranus. Be angry, be frustrated, but also know that Uranus is in this frustration pushing us towards answers, pushing us towards understandings that we haven't even considered yet ourselves. And with Uranus and Taurus, which is going to move into Gemini this year and then back into Taurus again for a little bit in, I think, 2026, or at least the end of 2025. I'd have to go look. But, you know, in Taurus, it's about the whole picture. It's about a holistic approach. You're like, well, I don't think Uranus has been doing a holistic approach for the past however many years it's been in Taurus. No, but it's been showing us where things are not holistic, where things are not sustainable, where our systems are not working and they're crumbling. Especially with its relationship to Saturn right now. They're both these planets are screaming it's not going to work. You're going to have to fix it, not just on the surface level either. In Saturn and Pisces, you have to dig deep, and that's where the sun, the sun's rulership is here. You have to dig deep, and pull out the very roots of whatever this is. And Uranus and Taurus is a similar story, but it's about putting back into the soil that you've ripped up the thing up by its roots by, to create an environment where things grow, where society can thrive, where equality is important. Because Pluto and Uranus and Neptune have this quality, this great outer planets, of being the great equalizers. When you put a person under the lens of Uranus or Pluto or Neptune, they become simply their parts. They are no longer elevated by money or status. They are brought low if they believe themselves to be high, and they're elevated if they have been brought low by the world. These planets do a beautiful job putting things into perspective. So in this full moon in Leo, it's important to see yourself in all of your glory, warts and all, to embrace those warts for their function and purpose. And yeah, maybe there are some things we can adjust, but this is not the time. It's not the time to nitpick yourself. It's the time to enjoy who you are and to become radical and um, inspired by the unique person that you are. And also in that inspiration of uniqueness, seeing yourself as a part of the greater whole and how you function within groups, which is a very Aquarian ideal. There's a reason they're in opposition. Leo is the self, and Aquarius is the multitudes that surround us. And I am the self to me, but to you I am a part of the multitude, and that goes for everyone. So really see yourself, value yourself, look at your skills in new and innovative ways. Yeah, is there gonna be some pushback? You're gonna be like, is this all I got? Yeah, that's that square to Uranus, but believe in a future that is better. And also, like I said, we have that sextile between Uranus and Pisces, and Saturn in Pisces and Uranus Taurus that is actually helping us, and also that North Node helping us move and innovate, but it's in very deep, integral ways. It's these little things that we do over time that shift the energy rather than these big, grand gestures that are visible with that kind of underground, underwater nature that Pisces has. Anyways, I'm going to pull some cards, so bear with me as I put my mic down. Alrighty. So we start off with an oracle card for this. I'm excited. This is a new oracle deck. I followed this person online for a while. Let me look at the label. It's the Lost Oracle by Fiona Horn. I really like it. It's very folksy, and um, I just love the art style. And I like the kind of variety of cards that it has. Anyways, so the oracle card for this new moon is Bounty of Happiness. This gift is for you. And yes, we're all like, what happiness? What bounty? Like I said, we're looking for the treasure. We're looking for the qualities that we have. What is the bounty and the gift that you find in this full moon? Is it a truth about yourself? Is it a gift from a friend? Is it recognizing your own personal magic? Look at yourself honestly. And when I say honestly, I don't mean mean, because so often people use the term honest and mean interchangeably. I'm just being honest. I was just saying the honest thing, oftentimes is an excuse for cruelty. So when I say honest, I mean true. I mean real. I mean what actually is happening. So what is the honest gift you can find in yourself, in the world around you, if you can't find it in yourself, in others? But there's something beautiful to find in this Leo new moon. It could be literally it could be something material, like you finding a trinket at a shop. It could be something internal and ethereal, like a spiritual lesson or gift, or connection with spirit. So keep an eye out for that as we move in to this full moon. And then I do love the cards because it's very Piscean. It's also very Saturn and Pisces. um, and I always forget to say this, but I will say this. Go check where this is falling in your chart. It's really important by house. If you don't know how to read your chart, ask a friend who does. Get a reading to kind of help you kick that off. Readings can be a great way to kind of start your understanding of a chart, um, or just research. So we start off with the Four of Wands. This is the Fyodor Pavlov deck. And if I mispronounce any of that, I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. I love this deck so much. Um, but yeah, we have the Four of wands, which we're talking about being honest with ourselves and seeing ourselves for who we truly are. It's also about coming home to self and coming home to community because the sun is in Aquarius, and finding the places we belong, but not where we belong because we have bent ourselves out of shape, but where we feel at home because we are accepted for exactly who we are. And I think this new moon in Leo, full moon in Leo, is a calling to be ourselves, to show up exactly as we are with all of our fallibilities and limitations and gifts and qualities and magic, and find our homes. Now, maybe it takes a search. Maybe that home isn't right here, right now, but you're never going to find it if you don't look. So, don't settle for places and people who you cannot be at home with because you're constantly being forced to fit a mold of someone else's desires. And then we have the tower. We are moving through really intense times. I want to point out that if you look like me, that many minority groups and more visibly different groups of people have been in this moment before and for a while. I'm queer and disabled, so it does put me in a marginalized group, but I am white and I don't appear disabled. So know that the tower moment of now might be very specific to you if you are not a person of color, and if you're not visibly queer. Um, so it's important. I think we're all going through a big tower moment. It's important that everyone's tower moment looks different. Um, Understand that towers are essential. This tower was never going to stand anyways. It was not built securely, it was not built safely. And so the tower must crumble in order for us to build new foundations and safer conditions and places that are more like this. So let this full moon be a tower moment. Also, know that whatever is being cleared out by this full moon is going to be helpful as we move into eclipse season. It might feel hard to release it and to allow it to go, which I have a card for that as well. Um, but know that it is helpful. This tower movement is clearing things for eclipse season, is kind of slowly pulling our little fingies off of the things that we're holding on to so tightly. Um, and to grieve and to be angry and to be frustrated and do all the things you need to do to process. But know that just because this is going away doesn't mean that your future is over or you're never going to have whatever you've lost this time again. Then we have the Knight of Cups. It is time to connect to our feelings, regardless of the consequences. It ties back to that being safe in our own bodies and listening to ourselves. Um, we deserve safety, we deserve care, and we deserve to pour into ourselves. So pour into yourselves in this full moon. Like I said, appreciate who you are. And also, if you do not see who you are clearly, you will never feed yourself and nurture yourself in the way that you uniquely need it. You will constantly be feeding the shadow or the phantom of the person that you're trying to be. And that is not the kind of nutrition that you need. That is not the kind of care that you need. If you're an extrovert, for instance, and for some reason you've decided you're too much and you need to be more introverted, so you feed yourself like an introvert, you will constantly be starved for attention. If you are an introvert and you are trying to be an extrovert and you are feeding yourself like an extrovert, you will burn out. That is just the nature of it. So value who you are innately. Start to work with you as you are because you are the way you are for a reason. With your unique gifts and qualities and struggles. Is it always fun? No. Do we deserve it? No. But it is who we are and it is what we have. And through the lens of past life stuff, which I kind of mentioned at the beginning, you know, this part of our lifetimes is about accepting the life and the body and the person that we are. When I say accepting the body, I want to be clear, it does not mean that you cannot alter the body in any way. If you're trans, if you have body dysmorphia, you can do whatever the hell you want with your body. But, just accepting kind of just the material makeup that you have, accepting the life you have been given. And when I say accepting, I don't mean like taking it in the face. I mean to not constantly push back, to find ways to be flexible around what you have. And if you need to change some things, then change them. but like the molecular structure of your body's not going to be changing anytime soon. It was coming from a place of someone who has chronic pain. And then last but not least, we have the Eight of Cups. We are walking away from stuff. That Tower is pulling us away from things that are no longer meant for us. Doesn't mean that there's not grief, doesn't mean that there is not sadness, but we got to pick up our walking stick and head towards the moon, head towards the future, head towards a truer version of self. And not really a truer version, but head towards accepting who we are. And yeah, there's always room for change and shifts and better habits, but we're so often from a very young age like a little treat stuck in front of us that we're not good enough, and we spend our lives constantly chasing that treat. In this Leo full moon, put down the treat. You are the treat. You deserve to be seen and held for who and what you are. And the most important person, the person who this matters to most, is you. And everything else will follow. Anyways, my loves, I will see you in a different space and time. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them below. And likes and subscribing are deeply appreciated. Makes my little autistic heart very happy. And I wish you a blessed full moon in Leo. And I didn't call it the new moon this time.